Wednesday, got
What?
two college basketball plays for you, one NBA play for you. Mark Zinno already questioning things in a record time into the show. Mark,
Yeah.
something that no one can question or take from you is the fact that you were a big winner last night with a 5% play on the over on Arizona and BYU. My hat's off to you. Tip
Thank
the
you very
cap.
much, sir. 4-0 now on 5% plays in college hoops in 2025. Yeah.
I was 4-0 with $5 Tuesday plays in 2025. And then last night, I decided to lay the 2.5 with UCLA against Michigan State. And guess what? They
I
won by
wish you would have
two.
talked to me about this. I wish you would have talked to me about this ahead of time because I would have talked you off it and forced you to play the money line. I
Okay,
wish
let's
you
talk about
should
it.
have communicated with
Let's
me.
talk about it now because
Okay,
people
let's
love to hear
let's
me.
have it out.
People love
Let's have it out.
people love when we gripe about a game that's already in the bag. All right, here's the deal. I played it yesterday morning. It was more than 24 hours ago. At the time, UCLA was going from 2.5 to 3. I was in a race to grab that 2.5. Okay, I
Yep.
grabbed one, betted at FanDuel myself. They were the last man standing hanging at 2.5. So I'm like, okay. And the money line was over minus 150. It was minus 155. I can't look at our fine people that watch this show every day and say, you know what, everybody, let's all get on board a minus 155 money line play in college hoops. I can't do that to the people. All right, I played minus 130 over the weekend. Wake Forest against Pitt. That was very smart because guess what? They only won by 2 as 2-point favorites. But this was a different story. I thought as the day wore on, we saw where the line went. It was actually a head fake. UCLA closed -2, -1.5, even in some places. So I hope some of you out there were at least able to push on that UCLA play. Very frustrating, very emblematic of my last week or so in college hoops. But I will say this before we transition to Wednesday's selections, Mark. Luck was the other way for us with the play I gave for my half of the double play in the morning wager yesterday here on this
Yeah.
show. Vanderbilt got a garbage last second layup to get the cover there. So life works in mysterious ways.
Let me respond real quick to the UCLA thing. My piece of advice there, and I would put the same thing in my write-up. I would just take the money line at a smaller unit percentage, right? Like that's essentially what I would do just because, yes, I'm with you. I'm not comfortable laying 150, but instead of a full unit or a half unit, do a quarter unit and put the win in your pocket because of the aggravation. That's the only way I would treat that. I would say, look, then just make it a smaller percentage play, and you're advising people because you're being more juice tolerant in this case, and you're welcoming in bigger risk to minimize your unit size. Like that's the way you control your bankroll, and that's the way you limit damage in case something happens. Because at the end of the day, guys, guess what? I know we all get those spots where it's like, oh, I should have wagered more. Oh, I should have bet more. I get it. I've been in those spots, but you know what? It's better than a loss. It's always been better than a loss. So take the win, take the money, put it in your pocket, and move on. Instead of having to deal with the aggravation of what happened to UCLA last night. Again, hindsight being 2020, we could have had that conversation ahead of time. I don't think you were wrong on the cap. I think you got a very unfortunate result when it was all said and done. Speaking of unfortunate results, my half of the double play yesterday. How in the hell do Bobby Hurley and the Arizona State Sun Devils blow a 15-0 lead? They literally were up 15-0 in a basketball game, and they were trailing at half.
Good.
I take you 15-0. I'm like, and they ended up losing the game. Not only did they not even cover, they didn't win.
Emo.
Terrible.
Kelly Stewart strikes.
You know, the Hurley family I might have to do something Brian Power would do where I would talk. Brian Power would just tell me one day, I don't like the Hurley family. I don't like them, is what Brian Power would say to me. And I may feel that same way about you. I don't like the Hurley family.
Remember when Bobby Hurley, here's an oldie, but remember we talked about the Stanford tree last week and its history of alcoholism. Here's an oldie but goodie for you. Remember when Bobby Hurley, Duke was playing UNLV in the championship game and Bobby Hurley had to run off the court because he had a bad case of the runs? Remember that one?
I was probably too young to remember that in 92, right? Is that what you're talking about?
It's like 90 or so. You're older than me. I remember it. I laughed about it for years.
But I didn't, growing up college basketball wise, that wasn't really like a thing in the New York State area. It's not a college sports town.
I see.
So we didn't really pay attention to it. We only paid attention to college sports for gambling back then.
I loved UNLV, that team. They did it the right way.
Everybody loved
Role models for children. Role models
Not
for
really,
children everywhere.
Okay, we divert. We digress.
I was a college athlete in 1990. I know where I would have gone. All right. Let's go to Wednesday. Now, Mark Zinno, I will be talking about this game on WagerTalk today.
Yes.
Another show on this fine network. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Missouri and Tennessee. I think you and I are of both the same thought process here that Missouri should not be ranked. They certainly shouldn't be ranked 15th.
No.
And we're trying to look for ways to fade them. I will save my cap for later today, noon Eastern on WagerTalk today. But I do like where your head's at here with this first half under. As we all know, Tennessee, we don't know if Ziegler's going to be back or not. But one thing you know about the Vols, when they play in Knoxville, Mark, they play defense better than anybody in the country.
Yeah. And look, when Tennessee gets home, the one thing they do is play defense, particularly in the first half. Let's go through their 5 home games in conference play this year as far as what would the combined half total was for the combined scores in the first half. The opening game against Arkansas was the highest scoring game that they've had at home this year when it comes to the first half. So they gave up, there was 69 total in that half. And I'm going to break this down here for you a minute. It was 69 total in that half. Then it's 51, 50, 63, and 45. Okay? Those are the first half combined totals of their home games this year. And the 63, again, very high scoring team against Kentucky. That's where that was. If you look at the opponents that Tennessee plays and what they have scored in the first half, go all the way back to their opening game against Arkansas, the highest scoring one. Arkansas had 27 in the first half, right? And then you go to their next home game, which was against Georgia, who scored 26. Then Mississippi State scored 16. Then Kentucky scored 30, and Florida scored 21. The only way this goes over in the first half is if Tennessee has an offensive outburst. And, oh, by the way, go back to that game against Arkansas where they scored 69 in the first half. Tennessee scored 42. So my feeling is here, once again, Tennessee's defense will be locked down. And remember, guys, Tennessee plays at a slow pace. They are not this up and down team. They can play up and down, but when you talk about the level of efficiency which they play on the offensive end, it's so high, they don't need to play fast. Tennessee is 339th in tempo, which is obviously bottom 20 in the country. So they can play super slow. This is the number 1 team in defensive rating. First half under here. Let's continue to ride this streak. If you look at Tennessee, by the way, this year, as far as unders for the game, the only home game that's gone under this year for them was the game, or the only home game rather that's gone over this year for them has been the Kentucky game. They went over 145. They got to 151 in that game, a game that Tennessee lost. So if Tennessee is winning, guess what? The other team isn't scoring. Arkansas stayed under, UGA stayed under, and that UGA that stayed under was at 134 total. Mississippi State stayed under, and Florida stayed under. So again, first half under here, Tennessee and Missouri in Knoxville.
And we obviously know Kentucky is one of the most up and down teams in the country in terms of pace. They're the worst defensive team in the SEC as well, even though they were able to shockingly knock off the Vols in that game. That is the only top 25 matchup on a, I don't know, kind of a Wednesday college hoops slate, perhaps. But the Mark Zinno giving you a way to play it.
How's that go again?
Okay, just check. Okay, there you go. That's what it
sounded
is.
like you're like in a Mario Brothers game. Like that noise sounded like from a Mario Brothers. That's what maybe.
All right, enough of that. Let's move on. Okay, Luigi, Mario.
Right. It's to me. Come on.
Let's talk about
why am I Luigi? Why am I not Mario?
Because you said Mario. I said you can be Mario if you want because I knew you'd be offended by it. Okay.
Well,
remember you know it's a terrible movie?
You picked me Robin instead of Batman.
Just be whoever you want, okay? Be the King Koopa or whoever the hell that guy, or the Toad or whatever the hell that thing was. All right, you want to talk about a bad movie? That Super Mario Brothers movie, that was one of the worst films ever made. All right,
Why did you watch it?
Let's talk about. I think I was young. I don't know. I had a younger brother. I don't know why. Why do I do? Let me tell you something. Why did you do this? That would be a very long show if we got into that throughout the history of my life. Okay, Mark Zinno. Why do I want to fade Creighton is the question. That is next on the docket. Creighton is 12-1-1 ATS its last 14 games. Mark Zinno feels that this should be a top 25 team, but guess what? I like to put my hand in the over the fire, so to speak, and I'm going to fade Creighton here as they travel to Providence. This is my half of double play. Situationally, let me tell you why I want to fade Creighton here, Zinno. They are coming off what I would term a very fortunate 62-60 win at Villanova. I'm sure many of you saw that game-winning shot on Saturday. I can confirm Stephen Ashworth did not, in fact, call bank when he hit that ugly-looking three from the corner. That was one of the most ridiculous game-winning shots. If there's a more ridiculous game-winning shot this season, I'd like to see it because it hasn't happened so far. And that was after the Blue Jays were given a timeout. I didn't think they should have been granted. Zinno, that's another point of controversy from Saturday. Now, I talked about Creighton's ATS success. Okay, it's tough stepping in front of a team like that. And I will concede, I'm a little concerned that on Saturday, Creighton turns the ball over 18 times. They go just 6 of 26 from 3, and yet they still found a way to win on the road. But if you read my analysis for that game, and I was on Nova, obviously, you're going to see I predicted 3-point regression would be on the horizon for the Blue Jays. It was on Saturday, and guess what? I think it continues tonight. Why? Providence is second in the Big East in 3-point percentage allowed. You look at Providence overall, they're just 4-3 straight up their last 7 games. I understand that. 2 of those losses, though, by just 2 points. And both were on the road at Nova, at St. John's. The other, well, it was by 20 to this same Creighton team. So we're talking about the revenge angle. And in that first meeting, guys, Providence shot just 38% overall, including 4 of 20 from 3. Only 9 free throw attempts as well. I think we see better numbers from the Friars tonight. Give me the plus 3.5.
Yeah, again, when we talked about yesterday morning before I released the 5%, I was waffling back and forth between BYU and Arizona, and you have been very high on Arizona, and I obviously respect your opinion. And part of it was BYU's defense was problematic to me. I didn't think they were going to be able to stop Arizona, and so that's why I went with the over in that game. But I say all that to say to the people that I'm very high on Creighton, and it's not a team that I want to step in front of. And the biggest reason is if you look at Ryan Kalbrenner right now, like he is a guy that has been extremely tough to stop. His last 5 games, 16-10, 13-8, 23-9, 29-9, 22-8. I don't think Providence has an answer for him inside. And that's my concern against the short number here, that Kalbrenner could take this game over, especially late. And when you're talking about a short number like this, the best thing you have in your back pocket is that Creighton's free throws in conference play this year are below 70%. That may be the one thing that gets you home, but number 1 in effective field goal percentage for Creighton and number 1 in 2-point shooting percentage because of Kalbrenner. That's really what it boils down to. He's a really, really tough guy to stop. So I don't disagree with your angle. I don't disagree with your handicap. I'm not stepping in front of Creighton right now.
Well, you hate the play.
I mean, you could say that. It's more of my dislike for you in general, but yeah, I mean, I'm not stepping in front. I'm kidding.
Well, if you like the play, please smash that thumbs up. If you hate the play, comment down below and say, I hate the play. That's okay. We're all big boys here. We can take it. Also, down in the comments section below, feel free to let us know what you're betting on this fine Wednesday. We always enjoy seeing that. Mark Zinno and I both know what we'll be betting on Sunday. Little game called the Super Bowl. Yes. Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. And Mark Zinno, yesterday we broke the news on this program to the people that one of the great packages, quite frankly, in the history of WagerTalk.com was now available, as you can get every single Super Bowl play from Mark and from myself, one low price, $69. And I am pleased to announce I am, in fact, adding a third play to my card. No, Zinno did not beat me up. No, there's no black eye. This is something I came to. I had an epiphany yesterday evening. This came to me. So now, Mark, I mean, the value is just off the charts with this thing. Okay?
Yes.
Less than $10 per play. You're getting 7 plays for $69. 2
Including
of them, 5% plays. 5% play from what? 2 5% plays normally cost you $70. So you can look at it saying you're getting 5 free plays. What a promotional job by me there.
I would tell you it's one of the best packages I've ever seen.
of all the packages out there at WagerTalk, this is the one that you need to buy. I don't waste your money anywhere else on any other package. This is the package. We've had great success with our packages. People love our packages. They're outstanding packages. I highly suggest everybody get the Morning Wager package. Sorry.
Sounded more like Alec Baldwin doing Trump's impression than Trump himself there, I thought. That was just
it's a very bad Trump impression. I don't care. But
we all knew what you were going.
I told you guys all yesterday. Don't even waste your time, energy, or effort on anything else at WagerTalk except for the Morning Wager.
Okay, I'm not going to say that. There's a lot of there's many look. There's a lot of great people here at WagerTalk. Do what you want. What do you always say?
I didn't say anything bad about anybody else.
What do you say? What do you always say?
Bleep you, pay me.
You do say that. Yeah, you do say those things. Yes, but it's your money. Do what you want with it, people. But you should spend $69 of it on the Morning Wager BOGO Super Bowl special. 7 plays for $69 from Mark Zinno and myself.
Do not waste your time, energy, or effort on anything other than the Morning Wager package at WagerTalk. I'm trying to give you guys the keys to the kingdom. It's not my fault if you don't listen. That's a you problem.
Okay. Let's go to our best bet for the day.
We have one of those?
NBA. We do. That's usually the way it works. We've been doing this for 9 months. You do it. We have a double play. You give a play you like. I give a play I like. Then we give the people at the end a play we both like. And I know, Zinno, that you love betting on the Atlanta Hawks. So let's do it for tonight's best bet. So this should be De'Aaron Fox's first game in a San Antonio uniform. And guess what? Spurs are road favorites. Why is that significant? Because this team has been favored only twice in 2025. Both times, they lost outright. They've only been road favorites 6 times this season, and all of those, Mark, if you look back to the Spurs schedule, were against the dregs of the league. And to that point, when the Spurs hosted the Hawks back on December 19th, again, in San Antonio, they closed only -1.5, and they won, but it was an overtime game. So -1.5 at home to -4.5 on the road. Yes, Fox is here. Yes, people are very excited about this young San Antonio team possibly ascending, to maybe the play-in round, I guess, in the Western Conference. But laying more than a possession on the road, I don't think so. Hawks, they got some swagger back after snapping an 8-game skid on Sunday. And I just think San Antonio's overvalued. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a good spot just because you don't see the Spurs lay this kind of number, right? And the Hawks offense and their pace should be able to keep them in this game. The Spurs are not a great defensive team, very middle of the road. The real question is, and the real fear you have here is that the Hawks have no Clint Capella, so Victor Wembanyama may be able to have a very, very pleasant evening with nobody inside to check him. But it's going to require a huge effort from the Hawks. But I think we get it at home here. Again, for the Spurs to be laying this kind of number on the road is a purely situational play. Even with De'Aaron Fox coming in, it's not something that I would sit here and look at and go, this is a Spurs team you can trust laying more than one possession on the road. So we'll take the Hawks at home plus the points.
I believe the only time San Antonio laid a bigger number than this on the road was when they were facing Brooklyn at a point where Brooklyn was about 5 minutes away from calling you or I to suit up in their starting 5. That was the Nets had, I think, 4 starters out in that game. Spurs did cover, but again, it was a skeleton crew they were facing. The Atlanta Hawks are a professional team competing for the play-in round in the Eastern Conference. So the Hawks plus the points is our best bet. Let us know what you think of that by commenting down below. Again, smash that like button. Go to either of our pages, wt.buzz/BP or wt.buzz/MZ, and you can get that Super Bowl special. Again, 7 plays, 7, and they're all different. There's no same play. It's not like Mark and I have the same one in there, so you're only getting 7 different selections on the Super Bowl for just $69. I'm really proud of this pack.
Don't waste your time, energy, and effort on anything other than the Morning Wager package. Thank you.
Proud of your package, aren't you?
It's got a long-standing history of success.
I really want to zig you really bad right now, but I'm not going to do that because I'm a good man. All right. I think it's done. I think the show is over. I have to get ready for Wager Talk today. I will be on at noon Eastern with Prez, or Zoom is hosting that program.
And you'll be promoting our package.
I will be. All right, guys, let's catch some tickets.